So I hate spoilers, but at the same time, these books were so good. I so wish that I could just go through the book and, oh my God, this happened and that happened and that happened. And I can't. So I'm going to do my very best to give this book some justice. We're going to start out. Um, I hate spoilers. But at the same time, I so wish that I could just go in and just say what really happened in the book and all that good stuff, but I can't. So I'm going to do my best to let you know what happened in these books because I am so excited to talk about it and I have to be careful. So, my name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. We're going to be talking about Junie, the Sable Cloak, and Good Dirt. Let's get started. We're going to start out with the Sable Cloak. And funny enough, originally I thought to myself, after I finished the book, I thought to myself, why'd they name the book The Sable Cloak? Like, because I only remember hearing about this Sable Cloak one time, right? So as I'm going in and I'm trying to set up to see what I'm going to say about the Sable Cloak, I realize that sable meaning black, rich, or wealthy. And then a cloak is something that you cover or disguise or something to that effect. I thought to myself, well, ain't that something? This is actually the perfect name for this book. So the book is by Gail Melissa Grant. Gail Melissa Grant. And it starts out with this guy named Porter, and Porter has to leave his hometown and he goes to stay with his cousin. Mind you, Porter goes there and he has nothing. This is Jim Crow South around, I want to say, I believe the 1940s. And Porter goes to, I forgot what town, but he goes to this town and his cousin tells him, hey, go down the street over here and get a job with so and so. So he gets the job with so and so. So and so finds out that Porter is a stand up guy. He's got integrity. He does his job really well. And he says, look, I'm going to, let you in on something. And so he lets him in on another business venture that he has. They become really close. He becomes like a mentor to Porter. And Porter then winds up being this huge deal in the town that they live in, which is St. Louis. And then he winds up taking it even further. He builds a union for the workers. So Porter is the kind of guy who makes things happen. He is a leader. He's an activist. He's a businessman. He's really smart and he's very well known. So he is the guy, the man, whatever. There is also this lady who lives in another town, a smaller town, and she has an entire family. She has kids. She owns the store. She has a daughter. So, she sells like different things, buttons and fabric. I guess it would be somewhat of a haberdashery, I guess. But she sells all these different things. They are a huge deal in their community. So um, she has a daughter. This daughter grows up. She takes over this shop. And so now the shop is hers, but she has expanded the shop. So her and Porter are two of the same kind of people. They're driven. They like to help people, all of these things. And they wind up getting together and meeting. So they meet. He loves her. He tells her he'll give her the world. And he, actually tries to. The thing is, she is used to being out buying fabric and buttons and doing all these things. She's not like a stay-at-home kind of girl. So they wind up having a business together in this other city that they wind up moving to. Now, the story is about all of these people, but for me, it's kind of more about Vivian, who is their daughter, who comes along later in the story. This is a great story. It has so many moving parts. Also, the story is told chronologically. They don't jump back and she doesn't jump back and forth in time. She just kind of goes on chronologically until you get to Vivian, who is Porter and Sarah's daughter, and their last name is Sable. So, Vivian comes along, and Vivian lives this rich, spoiled life. She really doesn't have to do very much. She is very sheltered, and they are sort of the pillars of the community, and they kind of hold Vivian to a standard. They want her to do a certain thing, act a certain way, all of these things because they have a reputation to uphold. And I wholeheartedly understand that. So Vivian gets to a point where she's in school and she hasn't really dealt with very many people. So once she goes to school, she has a hard time making friends because she doesn't have the social skills. I feel like in that way they've done her a disservice because she is not used to being around people who are not like her. She does not know how to just kind of, you know, be friends and talk back and forth with her classmates and different things like that. So once she meets this guy who really kind of has bad intentions, now his life is actually the total opposite of Vivian. He has been abused. He has lived on the streets. He smokes. He drinks, and he's very young, but he's just out doing stuff. He's a gambler, and she meets him and he puts up this front, so she doesn't really know who he is. And because she's lived such a sheltered life, she doesn't know how to see between the lines. She's just taking what he says at face value. And, nobody should do that. Like, you don't have to doubt a person. But, just believing everything somebody says is not practical, not in my opinion, anyways. So when this guy comes along, she winds up getting herself into a situation and she has no clue how to get out of it. Um, then the thing is her parents handled the situation, and I feel like they handled the situation with no care or concern about their daughter. All the care and concern is actually put into their reputation, their standing, just different things like that. This was a really, really good read. I totally enjoyed it. I read this book a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. And so I may be missing some, little details here and there, but I can tell you that the Sable Cloak was a good story. I did like it. There were some things that I didn't like about the story, but it didn't really have to do with like the technical part of writing. It was just like if this was a real story kind of things. Like I didn't like that they put so much emphasis on their reputation, but that is a part of the stories. I did not like how they handled their daughter. That is a part of the story. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with the story. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the book. I loved the story. I enjoyed it. It seemed like it was a lot longer than it was, and not that that's a bad thing. It just that there were so many things happening. So before you ever even meet Sarah, who is Porter's wife, he has a whole entire life before he meets her, and she has a whole entire life before she meets him. And so you get to see these two people separate, get married and have a child, and then that child's life. So I enjoyed the Sable Cloak. It was really, really good. Um, and I don't know, like anybody who's read the book, tell me what you thought about it, or like because, so side note, I started this YouTube channel because I love books. And I really don't have anybody to talk to about books. And so this is my way of doing that. The problem is you can't really spoil it, so it makes it hard, you know? But, anyways, if you've read the book, tell me something. Like, communicate with me. Anyways, and the next book we're gonna get into is Junie. I waited for Junie. I read the synopsis of Junie and I could not wait. The funny thing is, generally, I am not into ghosts. I'm not into ghosts. I'm not into ghost stories. I'm just like way too scary for that kind of thing. But last year I read When the Reckoning Comes, and it has ghosts in it. And it really, really surprised me at how much I enjoyed that book. And it had ghosts in it. So when this one came out and it had ghosts in it, I was kind of like, okay, we're going to see. But I'm going to think either I'm not scary or, like it was a really, really good book. Not sure which one. But so, Junie. Okay. So, Junie was born on the Ballerine plantation in Alabama. She's 16 years old. Um, she grows up under these people called the McQueens. And she is the maid to the owner of the plantation's daughter. Her name is Violet. So Violet and Junie has grown up together and they are friends. Um, and I say friends because in order to really be friends, you have to be on a equal playing field, which they are not because she is Junie's maid. So they're not equal. Um, but for the sake of the story, and that's what they call each other, we'll say they're friends. And so they go through the story, with Junie, and Junie has her family there. She has her grandma, her grandpa, her cousin, and her sister was there, but her sister passed away the year before. Now, Junie believes that her sister passed away trying to help her, and so she has a lot of guilt for that. And then everybody else believes that her sister died because she had yellow fever. So Junie, they call her carefree because she likes to do things that she's really not supposed to do, and people are always covering for her, which is something that her sister used to do before she passed away. And so at one point in the story, they get these visitors. The Taylors are coming. And the Taylors is Mr. Taylor, his sister, and their coachman. The coachman is the person who drives the coach. But really, this guy probably does everything and anything Mr. Taylor tells him to do because of the time period they're in. His name is Caleb. So they are coming for a visit to the ballerine plantation. And so the rumor is that um, Mr. Taylor wants to marry Violet. And that's just the rumor. They really don't know why he's there, but once they get there, they kind of start to figure it out. And it really, really makes Junie nervous because she is Violet's maid. If Violet marries Mr. Taylor, who lives in New Orleans, that means that Junie will have to leave her family, go with Violet, and live in New Orleans. And Junie really doesn't want to leave her family. Well, I mean, who would? She's 16 years old. Nobody's. I mean, you don't really want to leave your family, especially not forcefully. So that's kind of what's happening. And then um, Junie's being haunted by the ghost of her sister. Now, here's the funny part about that for me, anyways. Like I said, I'm a little scary. And so the thought of a ghost, For me, it kind of doesn't ring as a ghost. It kind of feels like Junie's conscience to me. Because whenever she's doing something, whenever she has a problem, she goes, she runs off, and then that's when she pops up. And then she's talking with her and going back and forth. And Junie, like, makes these decisions, or she's trying to decide how she's gonna do these things. So her sister had this locket, and Junie's trying to find a way to get that locket back from Violet without Violet knowing. And so that is another thing that is happening in the book. And there is something special happening with this locket, with um, Minnie's ghost, which is Junie's sister. Um, there is something happening in their friendship. Her mother and her. I mean, it is. This book was good. I loved it. Minnie has to figure out what is it her sister ghost wants her to do, and then she's got to hurry up and do it because time is running out. So well, if she wants to do it, she has to figure out if she wants to do what her ghost is trying to get her to do, if that is the right thing for her. I enjoyed this story. There was one thing in the story that I found really, like, I did not understand. So they talk about Junie being dark skinned. And so that's kind of different because we know that as far as the people who work in the house, none of them are generally dark skinned. They are all fair skinned because they're probably related to the owner of the plantation or related to a owner of the plantation, whether their father, grandfather, great grandfather, some kind of way, they are related to these people. And so they make mention several times of her being dark skinned. They ridicule her for being dark skinned. They say these nasty things to her about being dark skinned. But I don't really understand where that fits in the story because we know that generally they are the people who were in the home was not light skinned. I mean, excuse me, was not dark skinned. And I just don't understand why that was put in there. So if I could ask the author anything, I'd want to know kind of what was the purpose for it. And it kind of goes on to talk about it. So I don't really get that part at all. I understand that they're saying uh, Junie and Violet are best friends. They grew up together, and Violet wanted Junie to be her maid, and so that makes her her maid. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of why that would be important, and I just haven't come up with anything yet. So if any of you guys know why that was an important part to put in the story, please let me know because I am stumped with that one. But this one is a really good book. I enjoyed it. She has a friendship with Caleb the coachman, and uh, the owner of the plantation dies. And so she winds up not having to leave. And that is not a spoiler because that is actually in the synopsis on the book. So yeah, he winds up dying, and then she doesn't wind up having to leave, and so the story kind of continues. So she kind of gets what she wants. She's able to stay there with her family, and she's able to continue her friendship with Caleb, but there is still something happening that makes her need to get it together. I enjoyed this story as well. It was really good. I just had that one question, why they chose to well, not so the story is based on a family member of the author, so maybe the author's family member was dark skinned. I understand that very well could be true. but it doesn't really play any parts in the story. Like it doesn't really connect to anything. So, yeah, it just kind of doesn't connect to anything to me, and I'd like to know why. And then, Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson. This was so good. Out of the three books, I would say Good Dirt was first, then Junie, and then the Sable Cloak. You know what? That's hard to say because Junie was so good. I would, I don't know. They're all very good. I would say that Junie and Good Dirt were both 5 stars, and the Sable Cloak, I'd give it a 4.5. But 4.5, you can't say 4.5 is bad. Like if somebody handed me a book and said, "Oh, it's 4 stars," I for sure read it. So yeah, I is good. Just believe that. Anyway, so Good Dirt with Charmaine Wilkerson is about the Freeman family. So you have this affluent black family who lives in a neighborhood that is predominantly not black, and they are a wealthy family. So one day the two kids, which is a brother and a sister, and it's the mom and the dad, and then is it the mom's? I can't remember if the grandmother is the mother to the husband or the wife. Doesn't matter anyway. So, yeah, so Baz and Ebby. So I believe his name is Basil and her name is Ebony. They are playing in or around their house playing hide and seek. Some no good criminals come and they are trying to rob their home. They wind up shooting Baz and unaliving him, and Ebby sees this. So she actually watches this happen. And in the midst of that, they break this vase that the family calls Old Mo. Now, this vase has been in their family for generations. So, an enslaved person actually made this vase, gave it to one of their ancestors, and it is now several generations later in the Freeman's home. It gets broken during this robbery. So, well, everybody's traumatized, of course, because Ebby's lost her brother, the mom and dad has lost their son. So everybody's traumatized, but Ebby seems like she has not let this go because now we are at a point where Ebby is an adult and Ebby is going to get married. She has this high profile wedding, and the guy who she's going to get married to stands her up and leaves her at the altar. That in itself is messed up, like really messed up. You could have told me before we got to the altar, why would you have me standing at the altar? Like I would be so mad. But anyway, well, in my head I would be mad, but I'm pretty sure in real life I'd be hurt. But so once she gets left at the altar, she is throughout her life, Ebby has been known as the girl who brother got killed in the house and that historical vase was broken. Like every like thing that happens in her life, it goes back to that people. Oh, Ebony. Oh yeah, Ebony, you're the girl who they killed your brother. Oh, it's some other event. Oh yeah, you're the girl. So it's a recurring theme in her life. And now that she has been left at the altar in this high profile wedding, she is not in the mood for, oh yeah, you're the girl and your fiance left you. So she takes off and goes to France. She's thinking, I'm going to clear my head. I'm going to start over. I'm going to try and get this thing under control. And what do you know? Her past shows up in France. And while they're in France, she come to some really big conclusions. She finds out that she doesn't have to keep holding on to this trauma, that she can move on, that she doesn't have to be defined by what other people say about her. She winds up getting just a bit of therapy, and maybe that was all she needed. I don't know, but she seems to have kind of been able to take a look at herself once she was able to leave home. And I am happy for her in that sense. Sometimes you just really need some peace and quiet and alone time. And it seems like that was probably what Abby needed. And I am really happy for her. Now, with um, this book, Good Dirt, all I could tell you is that the book was good. I have no questions. I'm not concerned about anything. This book was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that they were an affluent family, like way back when, because they talk about their families being mariners and, just the different things. That they talked about in the book. I love the fact that they were able to go back several generations. I love the fact that they had this vase that one of their family members had so many generations ago. And I hate that it was broken. I don't know. I've probably been down on the floor with some crazy glue trying to put it back together because, I mean, it says that it's shattered, and that kind of makes me think that it broke into a lot of pieces as opposed to like maybe breaking off the arm or something, or just getting a crack in it. But yeah, I've been down on the floor with some crazy glue. But um it was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much I actually bought that book. And I am also gonna buy Junie. I am looking forward to, what is that book called? The Dream House or something? I can't remember, but I am looking forward to this book. I think I don't know if it's fantasy, time travel, sci-fi. I don't know what it is, but I've never read that genre of book before. But I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. And of course, I'll bring it back so you guys can know what I thought of it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, see you soon.